Okay, we're rolling.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Podcast series. It's Dave with you again. I hope you're doing well. It's great to be back with you. We're going to do a little 4-part series around how to sound more human in an AI world. And the first one we're going to look at today is us on the mic as podcasters and the rate of our speech. Like how fast we talk. Too slow, too fast, just right. Kind of the Goldilocks thing, right? We want to pick a speed that's reasonable for our audience to enjoy and something that the audience connects with. And so we're going to talk about this on the show. And we got 3 other episodes, again, around the idea of how to sound more human in an AI world. And I want you to have a better connection with your audience through your microphone and how you do what you do. So first, again, read a speech here on the How to Podcast series. Here we go. So back on episode 392 of the How to Podcast series, we talked about talking at a rate of speed that audience can actually connect with. And we used 92 beats per minute as a way of pacing how you speak. A link for this episode in the show notes if you want to go back and listen. This is one of the most interacted with episodes on YouTube for my podcast. And it's all around the beats per minute and understanding that as we speak, we set the tone for our podcast. And if you talk too fast, you're going to lose people. You talk too slow and you're going to frustrate people. So you got to find that right spot. I listened to a podcast this week and the podcaster, it's a podcast about podcasting. They spoke so fast. I actually had to go into my settings on my app and slow them down. It's like they're in a race and whoever can say the most words as fast as possible wins. And for me as a listener, not a good feel. It was really, my anxiety level was through the roof because this is not normal. Could be how the podcast is edited, throwing it into one of those tools that automatically cuts out all the spacing and words just crammed into each other. It was not a pleasant experience. And then on the complete opposite side, I was listening to a podcast with Mike Rowe on, and he was being interviewed, and the host was so sleepy that even Mike Rowe, he had to do all of the heavy lifting in the show. He had to do all the work because the host was just very sleepy and asked questions that would put you to sleep. I'm like, oh my gosh, get a Red Bull, something. Come on, let's go. Spark it up, buddy. And no. And you could hear Mike, his energy level draining through the interview because he's a pretty bombastic guy. He's good on the mic. He's got an amazing voice. And listening to him try to navigate a sleepy interview host, not good. So I'm encouraging us as podcasters to find some kind of middle ground here. I like the 92 beats per minute. I like that as a musician. That's kind of how I speak. That's my love language, is talking in musical beats. But today I want to talk more about this idea that we can find our voice and through our pace in our show and how we can make this better. So I'm glad you're here. So in these podcasts about podcasting shows out there, you're going to hear a lot of people talk about things like your mic and your editing or even your content, and focusing on that as the thing that is the most important skills in podcasting. When you look at that from that point of view, that's fine, but it's how it's presented as well. If your audience is struggling to connect with you as a presenter, you're like a person on stage. You have to capture the attention and keep the attention of your audience as you podcast. Now, people have told me that they listen to this show because I am not speaking super fast. I've also had people tell me I speak too slow. So it's whatever suits you, but this is my normal speaking speed that I would use in life. And yeah, I need to turn it up a little bit. I need to be a little more animated than normal because I'm a pretty quiet guy overall. But I know that coming to the mic, I need to treat this like a show. I'm treating this as entertainment, as something that keeps you company. And I know that I can't be boring. And I can't be too slow, and I can't be too fast. When you speak too fast, I find, as a listener myself, your listener doesn't hear with clarity what you're saying in your show because you're just going through the words at blinding speed. They feel pressure as a listener. There's that sense of urgency and even anxiety seems to creep up for a listener because you're so fast as a podcaster. And when you speak too slowly, they don't hear thoughtfulness. They feel more hesitation and more uncertainty of you, like you don't know what you're doing, or you're just really low energy day, and you need to fix that. Pacing is emotional communication for our audience. It's how we connect beyond the words. We connect on an emotional level, and that comes through our pacing, how we do what we do and how we speak on the mic. Most podcasters never intentionally work on their emotional connection with their audience and their pacing. I think that we need to look at, first of all, for new podcasters, why new podcasters, when they first start recording their shows, they tend to rush the content and their words. Why do they do that? So this other podcast about podcasting where this podcaster speaks way too fast, I think for her, maybe it's just the newness of podcasting and not being comfortable speaking on the mic. It could be that. It could be the editing. There's a lot of different factors here. But why do new podcasters tend to rush? If you listen back to your own early episodes, you're likely to notice one thing right away. You were probably talking faster than you normally would. Sometimes it just comes down to your nerves. When you're not fully comfortable behind the mic, your body speeds up. You think about people who speak on stages. They prepare a 30-minute talk, and 15 minutes into their talk, they're done. Why are they done? Because they spoke so quickly. Nerves can set in, and that could speed up the pace of what you say, and you blow through your content in a heartbeat. And you're like, uh-oh, I still got another 15 minutes to fill. You seem to rush to fill every gap, and you think that you need to have constant sound to hold people's attention, which is not true. Here's the truth, I think, about this. As we look through this as a podcaster, your listener doesn't need consistent sound. They don't need something happening 24 hours a day, constantly in your show, constantly in every episode, with no dead space. They need clear, confident delivery that sometimes includes space and sometimes includes gaps. So when is it time to speed up? I think faster pacing isn't a mistake. It can be a tool for us as podcasters. We need to use it with some intentionality, though, when we want to create energy or momentum. So here's a few examples of when you should speed up or you could speed up in your podcast. Keep these in mind. You can speed up in your show, and as you do your show, when you're showing or sharing something exciting or high energy, something that happened, and then we went here, and then we did that, and then this happened, and then, oh no, and over here came this. That builds some kind of anticipation and makes people lean in because there's action happening, right? It's like the music behind an action scene in Indiana Jones. The music is there just supporting it, and everybody's leaning forward like, what can happen next, right? It's hard to do that when you're kind of sleepy and just doing the thing, right? You can also speed up when you're listing ideas, tips, or examples in a sequence. It's nice to kind of go through them and give them all at once and then come back and break them down into individual pieces. The more people hear it in repetition, the more you review and expand on your points, the better. You can also use speed to build up towards a key moment in the story. You can also use speed when you want your listener to feel some forward motion into the content, what's happening in the show. Think of these things like stepping on the gas. You're pulling the listener along with you. You don't hammer your foot on the gas the entire time. You let off the gas coming around the corner. There's different elements of speed when you travel in a car, right? It's not all on and not all off. There's different levels, and that's the same for your podcast. Keep your foot on the gas, but only push the gas a little harder when you need to, not all the time. When is it time to slow down as a podcaster? To the podcast I was listening to, oh my gosh, I hope they listen to this, but when is it time to slow down? Well, here's a few things to think about. As a podcaster, please slow down. Please slow down. And if you don't know if you're talking too fast or too slow, get some feedback. Ask somebody you trust. Happy to help if you need any help with this. Ask somebody you trust. But you need to slow down potentially when you're delivering a key insight or a takeaway. When you come to that moment of this is the main thing, when you start slowing down, people start leaning in, kind of like, why is it slowing down right now? And you got their attention. Remember, people are doing other things in the background when your podcast is playing, whether it's video or audio, and they're looking for those cues that come from you, not visually, but through your voice. Even if it's video, they're looking for those cues from you to capture their attention. So by slowing down, it's an immediate thing where people are like, what's happening here? Use that. It's a great tool. You can slow down when you're sharing something personal or emotional, when you're giving instructions for your listeners that they need to follow. Don't blow through these things at the same speed that you do when you were speeding up. You got to think of you're slowing down too when you're making your call to action. You're getting close to the end of the show. You'll hear people slow right down. Go to my website, leave me a SpeakPipe message at howtopodcast.ca. See? We slow down. When you slow down, you're signaling this really matters, and hey, don't miss this key point. It's really important to do that. If everything is fast, nothing stands out. If everything is slow, you lose momentum. Balance is what creates impact as a podcaster. I like the idea of using contrast to hold people's attention. A great podcast isn't delivered at one speed. It moves. It changes. It varies. You might start a story with high energy and pace, and then you're pulling the listener in. Then right when they're engaged, you shift. You slow down. You lower your voice slightly. And you say, hey, here's what this means for you. That shift creates a focus, and it resets people's attention and makes them, as a listener, lean in more to what's happening. Video or audio, doesn't matter. Without contrast, your delivery just becomes predictable. The podcast that is too fast is always too fast. The podcast that's too slow, with a sleepy host, always too slow. You need awareness around how your show is received by your audience, and adding variety is going to help. So try this. This is a little exercise you can do as a podcaster, especially if you're just starting out. Try this. I want you to record a short paragraph at 3 different speeds. Do one paragraph as fast as you can. Do one more moderate, not too slow. Do one moderate, and then do one intentionally slow. Like go thoughtfully slow. And then listen back. You're going to quickly hear where you sound the most natural. And then get feedback on this as well. And this is where you're going to see where you're losing clarity or you're not enforcing your confidence. Mark your script or outline with some pacing cues. Use little symbols like an arrow up for faster sections and an arrow down for when you want to slow down as a visual cue for you as you're using your script, if you script your show. This is going to give you a visual guide when recording and helps you to stay intentional as a podcaster. When I'm working with singers, we'll do little notes on the lyrics of the song that you're going to go up here at this part. You're going to go down here. You're going to slow down. You're going to speed up. There's a pause. We'll mark up our lyric sheets. So there's a visual aspect to what we're doing, not just the words on the page. Do that for your podcast. Mark your script or your outline with these pacing cues. It's really going to help you. And then practice pausing. After an important point, pause for 1 or 2 seconds. It might feel really long and awkward to you, but it will feel perfect to your listener. The solo podcaster advantage when it comes to pacing. As a podcaster, here's your advantage. If you host solo podcast episodes, pacing becomes even more important because you are the entire rhythm of the show. One of the best ways to fix a rushed delivery is simple. Stop talking to an audience. Start talking to one person. When you imagine a crowd, you're performing. And when you imagine a listener, you connect. I find that people that come from the speaking world, professional speakers, people who speak on stage, just large groups of people, struggle with this one because they've been trained to speak to crowds. And speaking to a crowd is not the same as speaking to a podcast listener, not even close. There's some confidence there that you're going to earn by speaking to crowds, but it doesn't always translate to the personal experience of a podcast. So keep that in mind. This shift of switching from imagining a crowd that you're performing to imagining one listener that you're connecting with, it slows you down and it smooths out your delivery and it makes your pacing feel more conversational instead of being rushed. This is a skill that you can build on. Great pacing isn't something you were born with. It's something you develop over time. It's something you copy and mimic from people that you admire. As we work on our pacing, it comes from listening back to our own episodes. It comes from being intentional with our content and how we deliver our content. And it also comes from practicing and having a purpose behind the practice. At the end of the day, as your podcast listener, they're not just here to listen to you say words. They're here feeling your delivery at the same time. And when your pace is just right, your message doesn't get out of hand. It lands with people. It becomes something that people connect with, and you become their person. So, if you speak too fast, I'm admonishing you to slow down. I'm also admonishing you to get feedback, because you might be completely unaware that you speak at 100 miles an hour. And if you're a sleepy podcaster, either throw some caffeine back before you do your next interview, get more rest, go for a walk, build up your heart rate, and be a little bit more engaging, because you might be unaware that you are super sleepy and you're putting your audience to sleep. Somewhere in the middle is going to be good. And then being able to go faster or go slower and then be able to add some variety to your speed is going to make your podcast a better thing for the listener, which is going to have you better results for you in the future. So, in a world of AI, where rate of speech is not doing well with these AI voices, if you want to stand out against all of that AI stuff that's happening, then you need to work on finding your pace in the ears of your listener by not being too fast and not being too slow, but as Goldilocks would say, just right. Thanks for being here. Talk tomorrow. So I get asked quite often, usually at the end of a podcast, like right now, Dave, how can we help you? Like, how can we as a listener, support the show? Can we come rake your leaves? Can we cut the grass, shovel the snow? Watch your dog, help you move? What can we do? Clean your dishes? Oh, that'd be interesting. Well, if you can't do that because, you're in Poland, maybe you can help us by supporting us with our Buy Me a Coffee. It's right there on our website. And, it just will help us to, A, stay fueled because, we drink a lot of coffee around here, and it helps the show. So if you want to help us, it's out of the goodness of your heart. I can tell you that listening to the podcast to this point, you've already helped us so much. But I do have people saying, Dave, I'd love to give back something small, even just to the show. Buy Me a Coffee link is on our website at howtopodcast.ca. And you can support the show that way. It would mean a lot to have you on our team supporting what we do here. If you find value in the show, then that's great. Share the show, tell somebody about it. And when somebody says, Dave, I want to start a podcast, who should I check out? Oh, you should go check out the How to Podcast series because of all the great co-hosts and all the things that happen here, the meetups, everything. And I would appreciate that. And then fill our cup once in a while if you can. But again, thank you so much for being here and supporting the How to Podcast series. Take care. Talk soon. You're still here. Awesome. Okay, there's a little bonus stuff that I put at the end of the episode just for people like you who have made a conscious decision to stick around to the end. Not everybody gets to this point. I get that. Some people leave after 1 minute. I get the download, but they didn't hear anything that I said. I'd much rather talk to an audience that cares to stick around, really. So the fact that you're still here proves my point, and I really appreciate you. I'd love to have time with you, by the way. howtopodcast.ca. Just you and me. Please, a virtual coffee, talk about podcasting, anything I can do to help you. You're the person I really want to reach. So thank you for being here. A question came in to me through a podcaster in those one-on-ones, and they're an interview-based podcast. And they're struggling with imposter syndrome in a little bit different context. They said, Dave, how do I overcome that imposter syndrome of interviewing guests who are way more successful than I am? I don't even deserve, I'm not worthy. Like Mike Myers, right? I'm not worthy. Yeah, they're not worthy. And we talked about this. And what I said to them was, when you have somebody on your show, because I've had them on my author podcast, people that I should have no time with and people I admire. Yes, there's a part of you that wants to fan out, fanboy, fangirl, and just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's you. Oh, I love your stuff, right? You just want to go on and on. Honor the fact that there's somebody you admire. That's fine. These are normal people, and they like to be treated like normal people. They don't want to be puffed up, right? That's not why they're there. Treat them like a fan, but treat them like you're a student of theirs. Come with questions you'd ask your teacher, your instructor, somebody further down the path. And come with genuine curiosity, not just about them and fame or the typical things they would be asked, but come with a curiosity about them as a human. And don't over-prepare. Don't read everything. Don't watch everything. Don't know everything about everything. Know enough to be curious, but leave some room for discovery. And when you meet with them, just be ready, right? Get all the nervousness out before they come on the screen. Go over your questions or your ideas or your concept for the episode beforehand. Make sure you have all the links ready. Make sure you know how to pronounce their name so you don't screw it up. Write it out phonetically so that you can look at it and sound it out on your page. If they have a very interesting name, just make sure you're ready. Make sure you're talking to the right person as well. I heard one podcaster where they opened the show, introduced the guest, and the guest is like, no, that's the other guy that has the same name as me. I've never done those things. And there was this awkward kind of cricket moment, like, uh-oh. Like, oh no. So I felt really bad in the moment. I would have edited that out, by the way, but they left it in. To their credit, they left it in. Make sure you're talking to the right person about the right things, and you do your homework. And I always do pre-interviews with my guests. Some of my superstar guests that have been on the show that have been they're super high in demand, not always available for a pre-chat, but I'll talk to their team and find out what's pressing, what's important. Use the team then. If you can't get the guest, use the team so that you're prepared, and have the team talk to the guest about the show. That's another way to do it. So don't be overwhelmed by it. If you're feeling like you're not worthy, you are. They want to come on your show. They want to talk to your audience, and you're the person that makes it happen. So just treat them like you're a student. And as a student, come with curiosity, come with excitement, and make sure you honor them with a great conversation that they're going to be talking about to others. And that's going to help your show. Need any help? Let me know. Happy to help anytime. howtopodcast.ca. See you soon.